to my channel and Happy New Year. Today is my first video for 2020 and I'm really excited to be sharing 3 winter wreaths that are perfect for after Christmas. I know it can be a little challenging decorating between Christmas and springtime, so I really hope that you like these 3 wreaths. They were all really easy to make and I just love how they turned out. Let's go ahead and jump right into today's video. Moving right on into wreath number 1, the materials I used to make this one were 2 bundles of wood slices from Hobby Lobby, burlap ribbon from Dollar Tree, plaid ribbon from Walmart, my hot glue gun, jute, winter stems from Michaels, a bowl to measure out my wreath, and some scissors. To start this project, I'm using this bowl as a guide to help me measure my wreath. I'm setting out all of the larger slices that came in the bundle right around the edges of the bowl, and this is going to ensure that I have a nice even circle for my wreath. All of the wood slices were not exactly the same size, but I used the ones in the bundle that were close in size to each other. Next, I'm removing the bowl and then placing smaller wood slices right on top of the larger wood slices in the center where the 2 larger wood slices meet together. And I'm continuing this step all the way around my circle. Next, I'm attaching all of my wood slices together. I'm putting hot glue on both sides of my smaller top layer wood slices and then pressing them down onto the larger bottom layer slices right in the spot where I had already laid them out. And I'm continuing this step until I have all of my slices glued together. Next, I'm creating my bow. I'm measuring out this plaid ribbon for how long I want the bottom piece of my ribbon to be and then cutting that down to size. I'm measuring this burlap ribbon a little bit shorter than my large plaid piece of ribbon and then measuring another piece of the plaid ribbon a little bit shorter than my burlap ribbon and then another piece of burlap ribbon a little bit shorter than my second plaid piece of ribbon. I'm then creating circles with all 4 pieces of ribbon that I just cut. I'm attaching both ends of my ribbon together to form a circle, and this is going to help me create my bow. Once I have those all glued, I'm then going to be forming my bow by stacking my ribbon from the largest piece to the smallest piece. I'm then gathering all of my pieces of ribbon together in the middle and then taking a piece of jute and wrapping it right around the center of all of my pieces of ribbon and making sure that I tie it really tight. This is going to hold all of my pieces of ribbon together. Now I'm cutting a section of this plaid ribbon out and I'm placing it right in the center of my bow. I'm attaching both ends of this piece of ribbon along the back side of my bow using some hot glue. I'm then fluffing up all of my loops so that my bow looks nice and full. Next, I'm measuring out the tail ends of my bow with this plaid ribbon and I'm just cutting it down to size. I'm tying a piece of jute right in the center of that plaid ribbon that I just cut out to make the tail ends of my bow. To attach my piece of ribbon that's going to be my tails, I'm placing hot glue on the back side of my bow and then pressing the center of that tail piece of ribbon right over top of the glue. And then to attach my bow to my wreath, I'm placing hot glue on the top wood slice and then just pressing the bow over top of the glue. Next, I'm pulling apart some of this winter greenery that I picked up from Michaels. I'm pulling the pieces apart so that it's easier for me to place on my wreath around my bow. And to attach the greenery, I'm placing hot glue right onto the wood slices and then pressing the greenery over top. And I just attached them around my bow wherever I thought that they were needed. And to give my bow a more of a finished look, I'm cutting both ends in a diagonal. For the last step, I'm making my hanger with a piece of jute. I'm measuring the jute for how long I want my hanger to be, and then I'm attaching it right on the back side of my wreath using some hot glue. And this is my winter wood slice wreath all finished. I am so happy with how this one turned out, and it was so easy to create. Now that we're all finished with the first wreath, let's move on to wreath number 2. For this one, the materials I used were this willow wreath from Dollar Tree, striped ribbon from Walmart, pine cones that I picked up from Dollar General, winter stems from Michaels, my hot glue gun, Krylon spray paint in Almond, Folk Art chalk paint in Castle, Deco Art chalk paint in Lace, paintbrushes, scissors, and some jute. For this wreath, I first started out by spray painting both sides of it with my Krylon spray paint in the color Almond. Once that was completely dried, I really wasn't happy with the color, so I decided to add some of this Deco Art chalk paint in Lace. And I wasn't too precise when I was painting it on. I just kind of painted it where I thought it needed a little bit more of a lighter color. After that color, I wanted to add a little bit of dimension, so I'm taking my chalk paint in the color Castle, and I'm just messily painting that all over the wreath, and I did do both sides in this color. I really like how it created a lot more dimension, and it gave it more of like a dirty rustic look, which I really liked. Next, I'm pulling apart some of these winter stems that I picked up from Michaels. I know that I'm not going to be using all of them for my wreath, so I'm just cutting off the ones that I'm going to be using. I'm then attaching the stems to my wreath. I'm zigzagging the stems as much as I can through the wreath, and then to make sure that they stay in place, I'm putting hot glue all around them and then holding it in place until the glue dries so that they don't move around. And I'm continuing to add more of this winter greenery throughout the bottom half of my wreath, the same as I did that first stem. I did end up using a couple different styles of this greenery because I really love the way that they all look together. Next, I'm attaching some pine cones in the bottom center of my wreath in between all of that greenery. I place the hot glue right on top of the wreath and then just press down the pine cones over top of the glue. I did hold the pine cones in place until the glue was dry so that they didn't move around. And I'm continuing to add some more smaller pine cones right above the other pine cones that I just attached. And then I wanted to have a little bit of greenery in between all of the pine cones. So I'm just placing some hot glue right onto the greenery and then pressing them in between all of the pine cones. And again, just holding those in place until they are completely dried. For the last step in making this wreath, I'm making my hanger. I'm using this striped ribbon that I picked up from Walmart. I'm measuring it for the length that I want my hanger to be and then just gluing both sides of the ribbon together. And this is my winter willow wreath all finished. I just love how sparkly and beautiful this one is. And again, this one was super easy to make and very inexpensive as well. Now let's move on to the third and final wreath for today. The materials I used to make this one were this foam wreath form from Dollar Tree, burlap ribbon from Walmart, plaid ribbon from Walmart, a 7.5 inch by 2.5 inch scrap piece of wood, jute, my hot glue gun, scissors, Waverly chalk paint in the color ink, Deco Art chalk paint in Lace, paintbrushes, and wooden letters from Walmart. For this wreath, I started by gluing the end of my burlap ribbon on the inside of my wreath form. I am using a generous amount of glue because I want the end of this ribbon to stay on really well. Then I'm starting to wrap my ribbon around my wreath form, and every time I bring the ribbon around, I'm overlapping the previously wrapped piece of ribbon, and I'm trying the best that I can to keep the same width between each ribbon as I'm wrapping. And I'm continuing to wrap this ribbon around the wreath form over and over again until I have the wreath form all completely covered with the ribbon. Once everything has been wrapped and I've come to the end, I'm just cutting off the end of my ribbon and then gluing that end piece down with some hot glue. Next, I'm making my ribbon for my bow, and I'm really sorry this was out of focus, but I'm just measuring how long I want my bow to be and then just cutting that ribbon down to size. To make my bow, I'm folding my ribbon over like so, and then I'm taking that top loop piece and bringing it down to the other two pieces of ribbon, just cinching everything together and then taking a piece of jute and wrapping it around the middle about 5 or 6 times, tying it off and then cutting the end jute pieces off. I'm then fluffing up the bow so that it looks nice and full. To finish my bow and give it a little bit more of a polished look, I'm cutting both of the tail ends into a V shape. Next, I'm painting my 7.5 inch by 2.5 inch piece of scrap wood with my chalk paint in the color ink. I only had to do one coat of this paint, but I made sure that I painted around all of the edges and both sides. I'm also painting the letters that spell welcome with my chalk paint in the color Lace, and I only did one coat of this paint for all of the letters as well. After all of my paint has dried, I'm then placing my letters onto my piece of wood how I want them to be. I want to make sure that they're centered before I start gluing them down. To glue the letters down, I'm putting hot glue on the back side of the letter and then just pressing them down onto the wood. Now I'm attaching my wood to my ribbon wrapped wreath form. I'm placing hot glue on the two ends of my wood and then just pressing the wreath form over top to attach it. Next, I'm attaching my bow to my wreath. I'm placing some hot glue right on the back side of my bow and then pressing it in the center of the top of my wreath. In the last step in making this wreath, I'm creating the hanger with a piece of jute. I'm measuring how long I want the hanger to be and then just gluing that piece of jute right on the back side of my wreath. Here is my winter welcome wreath all finished. I think it turned out so cute, and you can even use this one year-round if you really wanted to. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Be sure to hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of my future videos. And please let me know in the comments down below which wreath was your favorite from today's video. As always, thank you so much for watching.